Hey there, my little biz besties. Coming at you today with another solo episode. It's been a while since I've had a chance to do this, so I had something on my heart today. A series of unfortunate events, if you will, but I was actually talking to a family member who is a mom. I won't say any more details because it might actually give this person away, but we were talking about these unrealistic expectations that I'm going to say parents in general, not just moms, put on themselves, whether these expectations were implanted in them, when they were raised, or society, plays a big role in that as well. And we were kind of talking about how hard that is and how vulnerable that feels and, all the things. And I felt it on my heart to come on here and maybe expose some of those things, maybe call you out without actually calling you out because that's weird. But really my goal in this is just to say I see you and I'm here for you, and hoping to bring a little piece to someone that may need it out there. So I want to take you through a moment that actually just happened this morning that I felt overwhelmed. I felt like a failure. Um, so this morning, it's the end of the school year. And by the time this comes out, it might be the summer. But for right now, when I'm recording this episode, is the end of the school year. And any parent can tell you that the end of the school year is one of the most stressful times for a parent because of all of the different things to remember. I'm not just talking about this is the last day. I'm talking, we've got field days, we've got half days, we've got award ceremonies, we've got special days, right? So this day they can bring a stuffy, and then this day they have to wear their uniform, but they can dress down in this kind of, honestly, it's a lot. If anyone is listening to this and they're in the education system and they can make any kind of changes, I'd like to raise my hand and say, please calm down. I get it. Like, we're excited. The kids are getting rowdy. Like, you're trying to just make it through the end of the year. And I love that for you. But the parents are overwhelmed. They're feeling like failures every day when they forget what day is today. So, but also educators, if you're listening, love you so much. You're doing a great job. Anywho, this morning, today is the last day of school for my little ones. One little one, because of course they both have different last days. I digress. Today is the last day for my littlest one. And I woke up this morning, I was super excited. I was pumped. I was getting him up for school, and I was like, today's the last day. Woohoo! And he was excited too. And we were like feeling the vibes. And I saw my husband making his lunch, which he does every day. He makes his lunch every day. And I had this thing in my brain that was like, all right, I was going through what my day was supposed to look like, any meetings, any work that I needed to get done. I knew today was a half day. So I already knew, I'm going to pick him up at 12:45, which is annoying, but also I get it, last day, whatever. So I'm going to pick him up at 12:45. But my brain said, there's something else about today that should be happening. And it clicked. I was supposed to pack his lunch for today. My youngest is a school lunch kid. He loves school lunch. He thinks it's better than anything I could prepare. Whatever. Makes my life easier. Here you go. Cafeteria. Feed my child. Love it. When my brain was like, hey, today's special, not only because it's the last day, not only because you have to pick him up 4 hours after you dropped him off, you gotta pack a lunch. And this was, I'm not kidding you, 10 minutes before we were supposed to leave. The panic I felt, oh, the failure that instantly hit my heart was so heavy. I'm a planner. I am pretty organized. And I thought, how could I forget that? How could I forget he needed lunch? Like, how's he going to eat lunch? And so I'm like scrambling around the kitchen and I'm like trying to get all these things together and I'm like tossing stuff in, like, I hope this works and I hope this is okay. And you like chicken, right? And I think his comment was, raw chicken? And I was like, boy, have I ever fed you raw chicken? What kind of, but I just threw something together in a lunchbox. It didn't feel pretty. It wasn't in a cute little Benko box like I normally would try to do when I'm packing their lunch. It was thrown into a lunchbox and I was like, all right, here we go. But after he left, he's at school, I still thought about that. I thought about, oh my gosh, how could I have forgotten that? That's such a big thing. My child's food, and I forgot. I will probably still think about that for days. And that is oh, that's so hard. And I know I'm not alone in that. Like, you are carrying such a mental load. I'm gonna focus on moms because that's what I can speak on. I know husbands, dads, all the things have their own mental load, but I'm gonna speak on moms. Moms have such a heavy mental load and they carry it every day, all day. We have to remember everything. The school spirit days, the doctor's appointments, the grocery lists, like everything. And I think there's this guilt tug of war. Um, you know, and I'm sorry for watching this on YouTube and you just see my dogs like zooming by. But there's this guilt tug of war, right? There's this work versus kids, self-care versus laundry. So many times I find myself thinking I could throw on some makeup and like feel ready for the day, or I could start a load of laundry. My brain always tells me, and I'm working on this, obviously, like, you should provide for your family before you provide for yourself. One thing that I'll never forget, this life coach told me, and Emily, I hope you're watching this, but this really stuck with me, Emily Karen. Self-care isn't selfish. It's taking care of yourself. And so I feel this guilt tug of war all the time, and I understand, and you might feel that too. It's lunchtime and your toddler is, we're going to say screaming, and it doesn't have to be like crying. It can just be like, I'm hungry, like I want it now. And you feel like, I have to do this other thing, but you're hungry. If I don't feed you, I'm a bad mom and all these things. So you obviously forget about yourself. I don't need to go to the bathroom. Like, I'll just feed them first and then I'll go to the bathroom. If you're a working mom, there's this constant context switching. So you are going from CEO mode to mom, where's my socks mode. And that is so hard. It's a different energy. When you're working in your CEO, when you're working in general, most of the time, unless you're like a super creative, love that. Most of the time you're working in like a masculine energy. You're like getting it done. You're crossing off lists. You're doing all these things. But then the mom mode requires more of a feminine energy, a nurturing energy. And so that's kind of like hard to get your brain around, right? On top of that, there's this lack of rest, a lack of boundaries, a lack of alone time. And so you're carrying all this stuff. You've got this guilt tug of war. And on your back lays no rest, no alone time, no boundaries. Kids don't know boundaries, and you have to teach them these things. And even that comes with time. And so when they're toddlers, they don't know what a boundary is. They want something now. That is their emotional state, is they want it now. They have a feeling, they want it now. It's not too different when they get older. It's not too different with friends and family. Gosh, the way that technology is today, when someone texts you, there's this expectation that you're going to respond right away. When someone calls you and you don't answer, they think something's wrong with you. It's not just, I'm busy. Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time. You feel guilty if you see a call come in from a parent or a friend, and maybe you're having a really hard time and you're not in the mental space to answer it and you feel so guilty. And then that you worry, like, are they going to be mad at me? Like, I'm just not in a place to do this. It's all these things just like building and building and building. And I think sometimes we forget, like, we're not meant to do this alone. We're not meant to do it all. That is such a myth. The myth of doing it all is a lie. It's exhausting. It is not sustainable. I personally think that we have gotten away from the importance of building and accepting a village. I try very, very hard to preach this, to practice this all the time. It's hard. Build your village. It could be your partner, it could be your extended family, your friends, teachers, therapists, even your coffee person, your barista. If you have a place that you like to go and get coffee on the way back from dropping kids off on the way, and you go to the same place and you notice that same person, like, that can be a person that's part of your village. It's silly to think of it that way, but I promise you, if you have a coffee place, which I do, I like routine. You can go to the same coffee place, you see the same people, start small conversations. If you see that their name is Chelsea, I don't know where that name came from, but Chelsea. When you see her in the morning, say, Chelsea, you're having a good day? It might feel awkward, but this is how we start moving towards a village. I cannot stress the relief you feel, and walk with me here. When you walk into a place, I have a boutique I love to go to, and it's for this exact reason. When I walk in, and I don't go to this boutique all the time, I go there once every few months, maybe. But when I walk in, they say, oh, hi, Mrs. Chamberlain, which not a lot of people call me Mrs. Chamberlain, but hi, Mrs. Chamberlain, how are you? How was your trip to so-and-so? Because they remember. And that's such a relief for me because I instantly feel comfortable. I'm instantly like, man, I'm in the right place because these are my people. There is power to that. You really have to ask yourself, like, who's in my corner? And a follow-up, how can you let them show up for you? Oh, girl. Like, how can you let them show up for you? I'm not asking, who are your people and how can you help them? No. You help enough people. You have to get comfortable with letting people help you. And that is so easy to say and hard to do. But I want to challenge you. Who are your people in your corner? Who are your cheerleaders? Who are the people that are asking, like, hey, I remember you told me that you had this interview for this job. Like, how did it go? Did it go okay? Did you get it? Who are the people that are checking in on you? Hey, I haven't heard from you in a few days. Are you doing okay? I know that you have a 2-year-old, so you're probably not okay. So you want to talk about it? Like, no judgment. Who are the people that are truly invested and interested in you? And how can they help you? I want you to think about that. Hey there, my little biz besties. It's Ashley Chamberlain, host of In Good Company and CEO of Chamberlain and Good Company, the virtual accounting firm that actually speaks human. If you're a business owner and you've ever found yourself staring at QuickBooks like it's a literal foreign language, wondering if your miscellaneous category is secretly plotting against you, this is for you. We just launched something new, a private Facebook group called Mind Your Business and Your Books. It's for business owners who want real answers, real support, maybe a little less panic when it comes to your books. We're talking QuickBooks help, tax tips, mindset shifts, because yes, money is mental, and a community that actually gets it. How rare, right? It's $30 for your first month because we believe in starting strong without breaking the bank. That's not what we're trying to do here. After that, the price goes up. We'll go live twice a month. We'll answer your questions that are submitted by you ahead of time. Search Mind Your Business and Your Books on Facebook, or just check the link in the show notes. Join us. Your spreadsheets and your sanity will thank you. There is such power in community. What true support looks like, at least to me, how I would define true support. Listening ears. Listening ears. People who want to hear what you have to say. I'm not talking about the people that call you. And I have several people in my life that do this. That call you and they say, like, hey, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, nothing. I just did this. And then they're like, cool. And then they dump on you. Though they don't have listening ears. They called you because you have listening ears. You need people that have the listening ears too. You don't need to be everyone else's listening ears. That does not help you. Think about the people, the carpool swaps or the play date swaps. Who are the people that are willing to meet you where you are? So here's an example for me. We recently moved into a new house. It's a new neighborhood. It's a whole new state. And we had neighbors at our old house that are so, I almost get teary-eyed thinking about them because they are so incredible. They are true MVPs because first off, they invite us to everything. Even if they're like, we know you're probably going to say no because you're always so busy, but they still invite us. And I love that. But second, if I say, oh, I'm so sorry, like I can't make that thing because I'm doing this, they follow up with, well, what about Finn? What about your kid? Can he come? Because we'd love our kid to have a friend. And he can go over there and I don't have to be there if I have something else to do. Like true support. There have been times that I wasn't able to take Finn somewhere and there was some logistics chat. I felt like I could call her, the mom, the old neighbor, and say, I know this is last minute notice. I'm just really needing some help. And she was like, oh my gosh, okay, that's totally fine. Like, can he actually stay longer? Because now my kids are entertained and that helps me. Like helping each other. And that wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have reached out and asked, which was hard because I wanted to do it all myself, but I literally could not. And she showed up and that's who you can consider your community, right? Another kind of community member is business brainstorming. So I think about true support in your community. If you are a business girly, you need someone who is doing the same or similar thing that you're doing, going through a similar thing. Because there's been so many times that I have ideas or I just feel like doo-doo about something and I just need to talk to someone that would understand. Hear me when I say that. They're going to understand what I'm saying. It's not going to be the people that have no idea what you're going through. If you're a business girly, something that might not be helpful is calling a person who does not have a business. If they're your people, they're your people, like, good for you. But for me, if I have a business situation, the person I should not call is a family member who's a W-2, and meaning they work for someone else. Because if I'm looking for good feedback and advice, they ain't got no business telling me that. They don't know. They're going to give an opinion, not a factual answer. And in that moment, that's going to put me in a tailspin. Think about those kind of people, your business besties, your brainstorming business besties. I love that a little rich. Moving on. Let's acknowledge that when you're trying to build a village, vulnerability can equal connection. You don't have to have it all together. When you are vulnerable with someone, when you allow them to be a part of your struggle, in whatever way that looks like for you, a conversation, helping, whatever, you are building a stronger connection. Like, think about those friends that maybe you had in high school or the people you see on social media and they have it all together. I want you to really think Would that be a friend? Do I want a friend that looks like they have it all together all the time? I'm personally going to say no because that's intimidating and I'm going to feel like I'm failing even more than I probably already do sometimes. Social media comparison versus real life relationships is a heavy, heavy topic right now. On social media, you usually see the best parts of people, the best sides, you know, the stage setups, the staged good morning, day in the life. Like, that's not real. That's not real. When people, I always kind of laugh when I see like a day in the life video and it shows them waking up, and I'm like, no, how did you get that video of you waking up? Tell me that. Did you go and set your camera up and then go back in bed and then, oh, like, no, fake, fake. Don't like that. That's not real. Because when I wake up, I look like a monster. Swamp monster. Not cute. I don't yawn and stretch like a cute little kitten. Like my back hurts when I wake up. My hair looks like a baby bird made a home in it overnight. You know, I don't know about y'all, but I don't sleep with anything up top. I have a shirt on, but nothing under that. If I'm wearing a tank top, sometimes I'm like putting body parts back into the clothes. Like, it's not cute. So remember that stuff is fake. Don't compare yourself to social media. Be a real person. I really want you to reach out and build your own tiny but mighty village, whatever that means to you. But at least start somewhere. So I'm not just going to be doom and gloom, although my angsty emo self loves the doom and gloom. I want to give you some tips and tricks to get through those hard days. Things that I have done personally, things that people have told me, close friends that they do that helps them. And maybe you'll find one of these things helpful. I think that systems save sanity. And what I mean by that, meal planning, shared calendars, voice memos for brain dumps. You got words, you got to get them out or they're going to live inside your head and take over. Plan your meals, plan your events a week in advance at least, because then you feel like you have a little bit more control over your day. Can't tell you how many times that I did not plan for meals and then dinner shows up and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that like there's 3 meals a day and you guys need to eat dinner again. And then I feel angry when really like we could have just planned better, right? Shared calendars, it's quite controversial, but I will tell you, since my husband and I started sharing calendars, my life has been so much better. I can see when my husband has a gig. I can see when he has a dentist appointment that he's probably going to cancel because he's always trying to avoid the dentist. Like, come on, man, like be a grown up. I can see what he has coming up and I can plan my stuff and vice versa. He looks at the calendar and he's like, man, I was going to take this gig, but I actually noticed that you have an event, so I'm not going to take it. So then I don't have to be the one that's like, hey, can you cancel this gig? Because like, I already have this thing. We are on the same page. Try it. Next, outsource guilt-free. This is tough, but I'm telling you these things because I've done these things and they help. Do not feel guilty for outsourcing things that you don't like to do, that you don't have time to do, that you just don't want to do. It's okay. I personally don't like cleaning. I don't love cooking. I will do it because I'm a responsible adult, but I don't like doing it. So I've gotten cleaning help. I have people that come and clean my house once a month. Love it. They do all the things that I just dread and take up time on my weekend, and I don't want to do it. Grocery delivery. I have been a click list gal for years now because I would spend hours in a grocery store. And that's a waste of time. Waste of time. And I always spent more money. Because you know what always gets me? You know what always got me? Was the cashier when you're checking out and they have all those goodies at the register, right? I am a sucker for tiny things. I don't need chapstick. But if you show me a travel size chapstick, need it. I don't need any more tissue, but if it's a travel size. But once I started click listing, that temptation went away. It helps. If you're a business gal, virtual assistants. If you are going back and forth about hiring someone, if you're going back and forth about, what kind of positions you need to fill, maybe you're considering outsourcing something, I promise you, a virtual assistant can change the game. I've been very fortunate that I've had really, really good assistants. Now, I've gone through several for different reasons. They moved on. I moved on. They wanted to start their own business because I inspired them. That was such a good feeling. But, that's life. But every time I have one and every time things are in sync, man, this is such a good position. I love having an assistant. It just helps. But we'll move on because I could go like a whole episode about virtual assistants. Micro moments of joy. Oh, this was probably one of the hardest ones. Well, they all feel hard. Micro moments of joy throughout your day. This can look different for everyone. And here's what I mean by that. Find small bits of time to allow yourself to feel joy. It can be 5-minute dance parties. It can be going to Target alone with no list, but just going. Or it can be parking lot silence. And if you know what that is, So many times that I feel overwhelmed by things or, my burn it to the ground moments that I talk about in this podcast so much. Sometimes sitting in complete silence in a car is so therapeutic. I have dance parties. I've had some hard calls lately. And when I know I'm getting on a call that's going to be really hard, turn that stereo up. And I'll look crazy and I don't have curtains. So everyone, all the neighbors get to be a part of my 5-minute dance party. My little micro moment of joy. And that's okay. I'm not a good dancer. But they might see it and they might think, she looks so fun. And have their own dance party. Maybe not. Maybe they're like, don't go to that house. But maybe not. Maybe. Protect your energy. Say no to things that drain you. Say yes to things that restore you. This can be a lot of different things. For me personally, things that I am saying no to that drain me. Forcing certain, I don't know how many family members listen to this podcast, but forcing certain family interactions that drain me and do not restore me. I don't do it anymore. I allowed myself to say no. I allowed myself to say, I don't want to do that. And we don't. Certain interactions with coworkers. If you are a woman in your 30s working in the corporate world or working in any kind of business professional job, and you work in an office, the mean girl energy that happens there from women in their 50s and 60s is unfreaking real. And I say that with understanding. I cannot tell you the why. I can only tell you I understand, and it's hard. There's a different kind of draining that happens when you are interacting with those much older and they are treating you with that mean girl energy. Not okay. So what you can do instead is control your actions. Limit how much you share of your life with them. Limit the phone calls and texts. Limit the communication. It might restore you. I promise. I've been doing it and it's helping. Lastly, therapy and group chats. Group chats is also a weird one because it's a love-hate. But we need to normalize needing support in all forms, whether that's going to therapy, whether that is being in a group chat, just voicing your feelings and feeling okay about it needs to be okay. So, what I want you to know, some takeaways. Well, and I'm going to say this without getting teary-eyed because, again, this is very personal to me. But you're not lazy or failing. You're just doing a lot. You're not lazy or failing. You're just doing a lot. 2, you're allowed to rest. You don't have to earn it. You're allowed to rest. You don't have to earn it. And 3, it's okay to feel like it's hard because it is hard, but you're doing an amazing job. I really want to close with some encouragement, maybe even a challenge. I want to invite you to text a mom friend something encouraging. Say something nice about them. I want you to ask for help this week, even if it's small. Just ask. I want you to reflect on what makes you feel most like yourself. Not what social media says, not what your friends say, but what makes you feel the most like yourself. So, what can you do with this? Hopefully, you got a little nugget. But I really encourage you to share this episode with a friend who may need to hear this. By the time this episode comes out, I am going to post a freebie in the show notes of just some self-care items, ways to take care of yourself. I want to invite you to join my community, this podcast community, and know that you always have a person that gets it. Send me a message. I'm here. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. I hope this wasn't too much doom and gloom. Maybe this was just something on my heart that I needed to be said. But on that note, toodling.
If I could do it all over again, there'd be no wish I would, should have been. Spend more time with my family and friends. If I could do it all